Hey, welcome to another video. In this one, I'm just showing my $264,935 hotel front desk build. It's just a passion build. It's not something that I've done practically for some other business or for some other legitimate hotel. So it's something that I just built to test out my abilities and my skills to actually create good voice AI agents. Yep, again, just some passion build. So if you're planning to build something like this, so please run through some really practical tests, and I recommend you test it for a while for different scenarios and for different errors, so that if you ever in the future look forward to implement this for a real hotel or for some other business in uh, in reality, so it just becomes foolproof. But all right, so here's the build. I just created this whiteboard for you to make you guys understand again my process of building these voice agents and how I usually approach such builds of mine. So first of all, as usual, my prompt planning structure. We'll just get straight into the video. I won't yap a lot here. Just let's just get into the build. So first of all, the prompt planning structure, right? Um, what do I need my voice agent to do? So I need my voice agent to handle all the general inquiries like pricing, services, etc. Now I need my voice agent to handle room bookings. I need to handle check-ins and checkouts using the hotel's PMS software. Now, if you don't already know what is a PMS, so a PMS is property management software, which these hotels and even some restaurants and the Airbnbs use to manage some records of their property. As the name suggests, property management software. So in our case, where it's a hotel, so it's like the property management software handles all the reservations and hotel room availabilities and when a user has checked in or checked out, so all of that stuff. So if you're building any such automation for any property managing related business, such as a hotel, so you need such a software, and you need to integrate such a thing to your automations. Back to the structure. Now I want my voice agent to sound natural, approachable, and helpful, like a human front desk. And I wanted to ensure that the phone number used for calling was the same phone number for the booking too, which is helpful for the check-ins and checkouts. So um, if you didn't already understand the logic behind this, so it's like when the user books a reservation using a phone number of theirs, while they are checking in or checking out, they need the same phone number so that our voice agent or basically our backend automation is able to scrape their data from our CRM and is able to assist them with the correct information of theirs. So, yep, that's all about our prompt planning structure. Probably all that I want to uh, build a great prompt for myself. Then let's just determine the tech stack that we're going to use for this automation. So first of all, for this voice agent, we're going to use WAPI, and for the automation, we're going to use Make. Now, why I'm using Make instead of initn here, if you're just wondering, so it's because initn doesn't have a variety of PMS integrations, and for that reason, I'll have to use Make because Make does provide you a lot of integrations, a lot of app integrations, and then we have Apelio, which is essentially a PMS software that we're using for this automation, which again handles reservations and hotel room status. And then for the payments, we're using Stripe to send the user the payment link and to check if the payment has been done to then finally confirm the reservation. You'll get what I'm saying later. And then we're using Twilio to send SMS and to basically just contact the other user through SMS, right? So that's all about our tech stack. Then the operation planning. Now, because our automation here for this hotel is pretty complex and it's not as simple as just handling appointments and canceling them and answering general inquiries, because it's more complex than that, we are going to have to plan this whole operation or plan the whole structure that we are going to use to approach this automation. So essentially, what I've planned here is that to make a reservation, the other person will have to submit their government ID and payment through each of their links sent through SMS, right? So it's like before any reservation is confirmed for an individual through the voice agent, they will have to first submit their government ID through the link that will be provided to them by the SMS. And the second, they will also have to make the payment of like however rooms, how many rooms they're booking and what type of rooms they're booking. So they'll have to make the payment and submit this government ID to essentially just make the reservation for themselves, and only then will the reservation be confirmed. Then second is for the check-in process, the user has to call using the same phone number as I just explained earlier, and again, for the checkout process as well, the user has to call using the same phone number. Now, for the checkout process, there's an additional step. If you, I bet you didn't already notice it, or this didn't come to your mind yet, which is if there are any additional charges found that the user or the customer has to pay, they will be guided to the front desk at the hotel to clear them up. So it's like a lot of the times when user visit hotels, so there are some additional service charges that they have to pay either for the food or some room service, etc. A lot of them. So the voice agent won't just straight away check them out. It will actually check the CRM software, or yeah, it will just check the CRM software if there's any additional charges that the user is supposed to submit or to pay. And on the basis of that, either it'll help the user to check out successfully, or it'll guide the user to the front desk to actually complete those payments needed, right? Now, the fourth one, the government ID will be directly submitted to the hotel's customer database. Now, like whatever CRM software the hotel is using, the government ID will be straight away submitted to that. And the ID submission link and the payment link will expire within 15 minutes. So, as soon as the payment or submission is fulfilled, the reservation for that person would be booked. So it's like if I just tell you what I did plan for this voice agent in some very simple words. So it was like when the user has to make a reservation for themselves, they will call this voice agent. They will tell this voice agent the suitable time and the suitable dates for which they wanna make the reservation, and then they'll tell the number of rooms or the type of rooms they are willing to book. Then what the automation is gonna do is prepare two links for the user, which are again the government ID submission link and the payment link. And then the call will end. The voice agent will confirm the user that they have been sent with the link, and as soon as they proceed with the ID submission and the payment, the reservation will be confirmed, right? And as soon as it says that, the call will basically end. If there's nothing the user has to ask to the voice agent about, right? So that's it. That's basically what I've planned for this voice agent. Now, there are possibilities you don't already understand what I'm talking about here, because again, that's a very complex workflow and that's a very complex automation in all and requires a lot of operations. And again, this is not practical yet. I won't misguide you by just telling you, by just showing you this shiny thing, big ass automation, like for the hotel and handling all these steps. But eventually, this is not currently implementation ready for any hotel or for any business, right? Such a complex thing. Now, just let's just get into the workflow planning. So, workflow one, actually, for this automation, we're going to be needing to make workflows. So, the workflow one will be used for booking reservation, and what we'll do is it will just collect the user data and send ID submission and payment link through the SMS. And once done, the workflow books in the reservation automatically. So that's basically what the workflow one will do, and what its significance is during all this automation. And then there is workflow two, which is basically there to do the work of checking in and checking out. And how it's supposed to do that is that it'll receive the user phone number and it'll check in reservation in the database again using the user's phone number. And then it'll proceed according to the objective, which is either checking in or checking out, right? So that's all about our workflow planning and our operation planning and our tech stack and our prompt planning structure. Now, without wasting any more time, I'll just get straight into our WAPI voice agent and the way I've actually prompted this voice agent. Okay, so we have stepped into our voice agent inside WAPI. You can see the model. For this, I'm just using ChatGPT 4.1, really randomly again. And let's get into the system prompt really quick. So how I've approached this is identity, voice and style, conversation flow. If you've seen some previous videos of mine, then you would know that this is basically the way I approach these voice agents, and this is really common amongst all of them. The customizable part of every voice agent, which is the most necessary, is the scenarios and then the dynamic variables and the tools and the notes section. The first three, or basically the sections such as identity, voice and style, and conversation flow, these are all just almost similar for all voice agents, right? So let's just straight away get into scenario section. So scenario one, which will be general inquiries. If any user wants to know what services are provided by the hotel and what type of rooms and what facilities are provided by the hotel. So for that, we'll just use the knowledge base, which will be connected to this voice agent. As there it is, the knowledge base in the Markdown format. Again, if you've checked my previous videos, then you would know why I've submitted this knowledge base in Markdown format. Anyways, getting into the scenarios again. So scenario two is creating a reservation or booking a room. So whenever the user wants to book a room, the voice agent is supposed to ask them the stay date, basically the dates for which the user wants to book the room or reservation, and then their name and their user number, their phone number that they would like to uh, use for the reservation, and then the room type they want to book, such as like for example standard, deluxe, or suite, right? And then the room quantity, how many rooms they want to book, and guests quantity, just for reference, how many guests are staying with them. So that's it. And at last, any additional information they want to tell you, like some additional services they would already want you to know, or some any additional information, right? So that's it. And once all of this is done, then the voice agent will summarize the following information to verify with them. Like, for example, so you want to book a room for 9 October to 12 October, and the reservation is supposed to be made for Shivansh, and your phone number is +1234567 8, and you want to book three suites, and there are four guests staying with you, etc., etc. Right? So it will just summarize the information like that, and then it will run the tool room booking with variable tool objective, which will be book reservation. Right? We sure will get into the tools and the automation part of it, but let's just get done with the part first. So next, the step two, once it has asked the user that what type of rooms and how many rooms, etc., etc., they want to book, then the step two is tell the user to confirm their booking. Uh, Tell the user to confirm their booking. You're sending them an SMS with a secure link for them to upload their government photo ID. And then what the agent will do is it will run the tool room booking with variable tool objective is equal to ID submission, right? Again, it's a part of the workflow, a part of the automation, but we'll get into it just in a few minutes. And soon after step two, tell the user for the final step, you're sending them another SMS with a payment link for the booking, as I said, and then run the tool room booking with variable tool objective is equal to payment link. That's it. I hope it was clear because there isn't anything to be really complex about all those scenario steps. And then when it's all done, as I said, once the voice agent, once the automation sends all these SMS to the user, it will just end the call if the user doesn't have any queries or any such inquiries. So tell the user once they upload a valid government photo ID and complete the payment, their booking will be confirmed and they'll receive a confirmation message. Then scenario three is whether the user wants to check in or check out, right? So step one is verify caller is using same number as booking. If not, don't proceed. So verifying here just clearly means that the agent will ask the other user if they are calling from the same phone number, and if they are not, then the voice agent will just ask them to do so, because it is essentially required to first of all verify that it's the same user that booked the reservation, and second, so that we can use that phone number further to just scrape out the user's reservation, right? To assess them further. Then the step two is run the tool check in out with tool objective is equal to check in or check out as appropriate. Like as we saw in this workflow planning thing, that the workflow one is used for booking reservations thing individually, and the workflow two is being used for checking in and checking out, both of them, right? So here, what essentially is being done is that it will just call the tool, which is again a generic tool for both checking in and checking out processes. So it will just run that automation with tool objective, whatever needed, if checking in or checking out. And when the tool is successful, ask the user to visit the receptionist to collect or submit their room access card according to their situations, right? So that's basically it. Now let's just check the dynamic variables really quick. So very simple, just the username, user number, stay date, room type, room quantity, guest quantity, additional information, and tool objective. As I explained them all already, I guess I don't need to do that again. Then in the tools section, we're just using simply two tools here, which are going to be directing the workflow to the two different automations. Now in the very last notes section, again, I've just given the voice agent this dynamic variable to just understand which date is it today and which day is it today. Um, and the second one is that never overload with multiple questions at once. So I just noticed that while the testing of this voice agent, that the voice agent was again just bombarding the other person with a lot of questions at once. So I don't need it to do so. So just mentioned this thing in the notes section. And the third one is if the user refuses ID upload or payment, politely explain that it will just save time at check-in. So it's basically helpful for them at the end. And if still they don't want to, transfer to front desk. Simply that. Okay. It just came here mistakenly. All right. So that's it. That's all we had for our prompting. And again, there is nothing to show here as such for the additional configurations. Now let's just quickly skip into the tools section for this voice agent. All right, so I'll just show you my tools real quick that I'm using for this automation. So the first one is book reservation, which will activate the book reservation automation inside make.com. So what we're doing with this tool is just basically sending an API request whenever the automation is needed. So this tool will send an API or an HTTP request to the webhook inside the make workflow, and these are the variables, the dynamic variables that the voice agent will send to the automation, which are the room type, stay date, username, user number, room quantity, tool objective, guest quantity, and additional information. Right. So that's it. And for the checking in and out tool, what we're going to do is send these three dynamic variables, which are just going to be the user number to find their reservation, and the second one would be tool objective to either identify either they are looking for checking in or checking out, and the stay dates. Right, so that's it. Really easy tools and all. Not much complex of it again. Now let's get into our really intimidating make automations. Okay, so in front of me, here's our first intimidating make automation for the booking reservation thing. And if you just have a look at it, so first of all, it's just a webhook which just receives the API request from the voice agent. Then we have this router node, this router module, which will basically just part the workflow into three parts or three paths, right? So first one, it will just use this one to just check for any availability inside the hotel, any room availability. The second one will be for sending the user the government ID submission link. And the third one will be to actually send the user with a payment link and to additionally check when the user has submitted the payment and to basically finalize their reservation, right? So that's basically the automation. If I just really quickly show you what it all is. So this chat GPT just basically formats the date and time into ISO 8601. This PMS software right here just basically extracts out all the available room options that we have right now. And these webhook response nodes will just send the results back to the voice agent, right? Similarly, this path where the first node with the first module is Google Sheets. So what basically it will do is just scrape out all the user information that we already have here, and on the basis of it, craft a personalized email submission, sorry, ID submission link for them, and just send the user that link through using Twilio through an SMS, right? And this third path, the OpenAI node will basically just calculate all the expenses or just calculate the amount that the user will have to pay, and such as three um, deluxe rooms. So that maybe will cost around something like $500, just picking out a random number, and then it'll just send that 500 amount to Stripe, which will then create a payment link out of that amount, and then the payment link will be sent to the user using this Twilio SMS tool, and then these three tools will be used for waiting for like 15 minutes until the link gets expired. And after these 15 minutes, the Stripe module will be run to check for if the payment was already done. So if the payment was done, then the reservation will be booked through the CRM softwares and the PMS software right here. And if the payment was not done, then the user will be sent an SMS, right? Like the payment was not done, and they will need to process this thing again, right? That's basically it. Now I just have this thing in a pretty much more explanation here so that it'll be just easier for you to understand, which is more intimidating. I would say it looks like an insect, to be honest. But yeah, that's it. Now, if we just come to the webhook, as I said, receives the webhook request from the voice agent, then the router um, routes the workflow into three paths, either the booking reservation and the ID submission or the payment link. Now you understand the significance of the tool objective variable that we used uh, previously. So this variable just helps the workflow to understand what the objective is, either to check availability or to send a government ID submission link or to send a payment link. That's all. Now this one, as I said, converts the given time into ISO 8601 format to simplify the time zone issue, right? Then the PMS software that we have here, which just checks room availabilities in the PMS software being used by the hotel to manage bookings and room status. Then it routes the workflow into two parts, which is either we have an availability for which the user asked for, or we don't have one. So when we have one, it will just add a new row that this reservation is supposed to be made right now. And this one just sends a response to the user that there is no such availability for what the user is asking, right? Then in the second path, where the objective is ID submission, first of all, we have the CRM software to scrape the individual's provided data, specifically phone number, to just customize a new ID submission link for them. And then it will just send the ID submission link to the user by the phone number, to the user's phone number. And in this third part, first of all, we have this ChatGPT node, which just calculates the total cost for the rooms, respecting the number of rooms, the type of rooms, and for the number of days the rooms are booked. And the second one, which will just create a payment link for the required amount. The third one, which is Twilio, it will just send the Stripe payment link to the user. Here we have three tools modules, which are all set at 300 seconds each, which just totals to 15 minutes. And the workflow waits for 15 minutes to let the user make the payment. And after those 15 minutes get over, the Stripe module here will just retrieve the payment, which is made by the user using their phone number. And it will route the workflow into two parts again. Either the payment was done or not done, as I just explained earlier, right? So it's all that we have here. And then what we have as the next workflow, as the next automation, is the hotel check-in and out, which just helps in the checking out and checking in process, right? So this is it. Again, looks like an insect. In my opinion, I don't remember. I cannot identify which one. But so again, here, as we have this webhook module, which just receives a HTTP request from the voice agent whenever any action is yet to be done as checking in or checking out. Then the router routes the workflow into two parts, either checking in or checking out, right? And this is how it looks like. Now again, I'll just prefer explaining it through the evolutionized insect that I have here. So the first of all, this webhook request a module that receives the request from the voice agent. Then the router parts the route of the workflow. Then, first of all, let's just check for the checking in process. So what this does is Google Sheets, and also every time I have used Google Sheets in this automation, it is basically the CRM software, right? So in this one, we're just simplifying it, not trying to intimidate people using some really badass CRM softwares, right? So I just simplified it using Google Sheets, uh, just so it looks easy and looks simple, right? So first of all, searches the user's phone number in the CRM and searches for the reservation if they have made one. Then this router, either we received a reservation that was booked before or we didn't, right? So if we did, then it will send the user a response that, okay, we have found the reservation that you already had and we have checked you in, right? Then the CRM software will get updated as the user has already checked in. And then we have this PMS software, which will update the room availability as checked in, right? That's what basically these PMS softwares do. And if there was no reservation found for the user, then the webhook will just send this response that we didn't find any reservation for your phone number. Make sure either you are calling from the same phone number or make sure to actually book a reservation first. Whatever. Now we have this checkout process where the total objective is checkout. And what happens here is again we're using a CRM module here, such as the user's phone number in the CRM, and then we have here the router module. And here the situation is pretty different from the past one. Here we have routed the workflow into two parts. based on either the user has to pay some additional charges or they don't, right? So in the workflow, if I just show you, here the router has divided the route into two parts, which is either additional charges are there or no additional charges, right? So here, if the user has some additional charges, then the webhook will just give them a response that they will have to contact the front desk to successfully check out from their room. And the voice agent itself cannot assist them right now. And if the user has no additional charges, then the automation will simply update the CRM that the user has checked out, and also the PMS software that the hotel room is checked out, and it just needs to be cleaned, and it is again available for bookings. That's all. That's literally um, the automation that I had. It kind of looked really intimidating in the first place, in the very start, but I hope, as I explained it to you, as I showed you all the prompts, the workflows, and all this explanation shit, I hope it did become really easy for you, really much more easier for you to understand how it is processing and what the logic is behind it. To be honest, I was the first one, I guess, on YouTube to make this complex workflow for hotels specifically, and it did take me a while to figure out these steps and figure out how we're gonna approach this thing. And again, as we're coming to the end of this video, so I would just like you guys to know that this is not production ready. This is not something that you could put out to the market and actually sell to hotels, right? This is just a passion project and should be done only to check your abilities and skills, and to check what limits you have inside your head to solve such problems and make such automations out of nowhere, where you especially don't have such guidance and such straightforward paths in front of you, right? So that's it. That's why I made it, and I just felt like sharing it to you guys. So that's it. That's all I had for the video. I guess I did cover everything that I had for today, and yeah, that's it. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and be sure to subscribe my channel as well. I'm looking forward to get your feedbacks in the comments, and if you guys enjoyed it, then yep, be sure to tell me through the comments, and I'd be really appreciating it. Thanks. Bye bye.